I might have deep pockets, but I got short arms. I don't want to reach in for all that.
He's a poor plumber, let me tell you. But
You got a used one for sale? I don't know.
Hey, I
This'll be
got
the-
used, we got two used John Deeres.
We got two of them. I can understand having one, why do you have two?
Because Wayne bought them and repaired them,
Ah,
and they're still in our
We
barn.
got some cards.
there might be a little wheeling and dealing here.
maybe. What size are the
Get
decks?
a card out to Kay Miller,
Lord, I don't
or
know.
Kay
Forty.
Miller and Scott
I don't
Miller.
know.
Probably great big ones.
Correct.
Or we could do,
No,
we could do
they're
a
not.
letter,
No,
we could just
just
sign it,
Letter,
He's trying to sell me a big one. I said,
Be a letter.
I can't get around, you know,
yeah.
45 inch, does that sound
Okay.
right?
Our tape is rolling.
well, could be. I got a 42 right now.
Good morning. I'll officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, November 15th. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Kirschner will lead us
Okay,
with
please
prayer.
join me for a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this crisp autumn day. We thank you for Friday, and we're not that thrilled about Sunday, but your will be done. We ask your blessings on this commission and everyone here in attendance. We ask all this through your Son, our Lord. Amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy,
Here.
Commissioner Zoller, Commissioner Kirschner.
Here.
Okay, we'll have the signing of the journal, and I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio-video recording of our previous board session, the index from November 8th.
Okay, this will be a checker game. It's my turn. I move.
And I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved. Any adjustments to the printed agenda? I'll give an update on the nutrient tour I was on yesterday. Just a brief update. Anybody else have anything?
Just a quick budget update, I guess. Old business.
Go on with them. Okay. Since we've got you folks at 10:15, I'm gonna hold in case there's anybody else coming that wants to be part of that discussion with the Opportunity Center. So we'll proceed with the old business items, budget update.
Just want to let you know I sent out all the budget spreadsheets last week. Since Budget Commission gave us their preliminary number for 17's revenue, I went ahead and set out the spreadsheet. So I've asked them to have them back to us by December 2nd so we can start reviewing, and if there's any large changes or requests that they would schedule with the board to discuss. So we're gonna let you know where we're at.
Have you hearing any major concerns back from anybody about anything, either maybe even prior to you sending that out?
Nope. Okay. Just wonder what we were getting.
No one to the left of the department heads, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Justice Center update.
I'll go first, I guess. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow with representatives from Silling and from Gilbane to discuss communications and how that's going to all work. That is scheduled at 9 o'clock. Hopefully both of us can be there. Informational purposes only. No decisions will be made. We'll get kind of an update on the guaranteed maximum price on the second portion, and also I think there's some discussion about the need for a generator to run that elevator. Yeah, so we need to have that discussion too.
That's at 1.
It's at, pardon me?
What time did you say?
9 o'clock.
Exactly what you said. That's what I thought you said.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. Then we're meeting at 10 to go over schedule for Shay.
Okay. The update is posted to the the update from last week?
I just got it yesterday, so I'll get it up
I was
there
gonna say, I
today.
saw it, yeah, in the email today from yesterday, and I printed it, it's like a printer out there, but anyway. That will get posted. I guess that's it.
Meeting
And our-
on Thursday.
Our leadership team meeting is Thursday noon, public safety.
Mhm.
Right. And the steel is still scheduled to arrive sometime about Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay, I was thinking it was, well, I guess Thanksgiving, early December is about the
Oh,
same
okay,
thing. just-
yeah, sometime after Thanksgiving, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yesterday I participated in, it was the joint effort of Wood, Seneca, Lucas, Sandusky, and Ottawa County Soil Conservation Districts. They did a nutrient bus tour and very strategically invited a diverse audience to participate in that. So I'll just kind of hit the highlights of some of the stops that we made, but while talking about our future and protecting the lake and our water source. And it was an eye-opening experience to be mixed in with the various groups of people. Because some of them maybe are from a more of the, I can term city folk versus country folk as myself. The different folks who work in those arenas and those who don't. Those who actually know nothing about agriculture. So it was quite the mix. And we went to a dairy farm, a large dairy farm operation that has to be licensed and certified to meet all the requirements because of the number of head that they have there in Wood County. Went to wastewater treatment facility, one run by the Northwest Ohio Sewer District. We've talked with those folks in the past. We went to a confined disposal islands, which is where the Port Authority is doing some unique things with the dredge material that they're taking out of the lake, and plans for other things there. Lucky Farmers, but just a area cooperative, and talking about all of the certifications and requirements that they have in place to meet as a supplier, as do their customers who purchase those things. And then the water treatment plant in the city of Oregon. So, like I said, quite a diverse group. Our elected officials, such as the mayor, Toledo was on the tour, representatives from the governor's office, and then down to citizens, those involved in Lake Erie Basin groups, farmers, and others. So, two bus loads. We each went a different way, and other than our bus driver needing better directions and not having to back that up on county roads, it was interesting. But other than that, it was a good day of learning. And the takeaway I have was that education continues to be of most importance, because all parties that were represented, I'm sure we all walked away learning something new, because some of those types of facilities we've never been in or seen or heard the presentation on, as well as just to know that with some of the questions being asked, I'm going, wow, people still don't understand this or that, and I'm sure they might have thought the same of questions that someone like myself would have asked. So, good day, and I think they've got their gears on, and this was a grant-provided program through Farm Bureau, that they know what their education challenges continue to be. So we know who's doing their part, and I think everybody is.
So where does the nutrient bus tour stop for lunch?
We picked up a box lunch while we were departing our bus when we were departing the dairy farm. I don't know where the other bus trip got theirs.
All right.
Yes. All right, so if that's for old business, I don't know if we know, I guess we can probably run through the resolutions before we're still not to 10:15, so let's start with the new business.
Okay, I don't have any bill vouchers.
There's not any in here. There's not any in there.
No bill vouchers in here, no?
Go ahead and read them, because she did send them to me. I thought I printed them all. Unless they got mixed up with somebody else's stuff.
Yeah, I don't have them on here.
I didn't take one.
Yeah, we do
usually
have bill
I did.
vouchers. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the Public Assistance Fund, moving $225 from supplies to contract services. Resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Public Assistance Fund, moving $68,796.50 from public assistance general fund account to the county share in their public assistance fund. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the SFY 17 Community Corrections Grant Fund, putting $5,138.42 into contract services. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the delinquent care and custody grant fund, putting $12,000 into contract services. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the probate special projects fund, putting $8,000 into contract services. I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to sign a satisfaction of mortgage for Chad E. Miller for the satisfaction of his loan with the Seneca County Commissioners for work done through the Community Housing Improvement Program. I have a resolution entering into a temporary lease agreement for the limited purpose of maintaining a current structure with Richard and Andrea Toronero. This is the draft document, or actually the document that Rhonda came up with for allowing the shed to stay on our property without them moving it, but if they ever sell the property, or if the structure ever gets taken down, it will not get put up in that same place.
It has a license. You said
License.
You said lease.
Oh, sorry, license.
Does that say license?
It says license, okay, yep, sorry.
Yep.
I have a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2017 Ford F-550 through the Ohio Department of Administrative Services Cooperative Purchasing Program on behalf of the Seneca County Engineer. I have a resolution authorizing a lease modification for Hope Roy's Hallmark Shop. I think that draft is in here, that is in here as well. They agreed to all the terms that we had discussed at that board meeting a couple weeks ago. So, and she has agreed to those terms. I have a resolution rescinding the board's orders of September 27th, volume 92, page 463, the transfer to the capital projects fund. And to go along with that one is the, let's see, we needed to rescind the one moving from, she doesn't have any details in here. Moving from, what we tried to do with the energy money, we weren't no longer doing the project, so we were gonna move it to the general fund and then to the capital projects fund. After talking to John Larson and the auditor, because we took out a note on that money that was in the energy improvement fund, it has to go into the note retirement fund. So this resolution is to rescind the original that we did, moving it into 215, so it rescinds those 3 steps, moving it from the energy fund to general fund to 215. And then what we have to do, the next resolution is resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the note retirement fund for the $315,642.53, which means now next year we don't need to budget for the payments for this note for next year, because the cash will be there.
That's for the old note.
Yes,
It has nothing to do with the bond for the new joint
correct.
justice center.
Yep, it's the note we refinance with the treasurer.
So we don't have to budget anything next year, and then
Is
it drops dramatically after 18?
That's the bond. The note is just, the note's only for, I think the new amount is $728,000.
This will reduce the new amount after the 315
Nope,
reduction?
before.
So we'll have 400,000 left?
Yep, if we put the whole thing towards the note, yep. We had already made the payment for this year,
Right,
so we can,
okay, so we'll have 400,000 left on that, but then that'll go away, that'll
Yep.
be something we don't need.
yep,
Drops down, it's not done, but it
Well-
drops way back.
yeah. I mean, it's getting low enough that, especially with that, we could get
With
it paid
this,
off
yeah.
sooner. We have to pay it off within 5 years according to John Larson, so since it's a note through our treasurer.
Have to pay it off in 5 years, and how long has it been?
That one is, this is our second payment on that one,
Okay,
so,
well, good, well, once that'll help cash flow, once that goes away.
yep.
Okay, perfect.
And that's all the resolutions I have?
I will move for approval.
I will second. Is there any comments, concerns, questions on any as presented? None. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller, Commissioner Stacy.
Yes, all approved, thank you. All right. Well, now we're within a minute of being to 10:15, so
Good.
Mr. Hurst and company. School opportunity. Come to share some information with us.
I did. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, commissioners. I'm here with Richard Williams, who's my financial person. He's done an incredible job at helping us manage our funds over the years. I've got a paper for you to look at. And basically what we're asking the commissioners, and just kind of information-wise, is to let us go on the ballot for a half-mil renewal levy. It's a levy that comes up every 5 years. It is up at the end of, we need to run it sometime next year to maintain the funds. The reason for the renewal is obviously we're using those funds for operations right now. We continue to receive cuts from the state. We have lost, well, in 2016's biennial budget, the state started the phase out of tangible personal property tax revenue, resulting originally in a $381,000 loss to us by 2019. And thanks to lobbying efforts, and Mr. Williams was an integral part of that lobbying effort, representing us in Seneca County, but also other counties that were smaller across the state. There were some modifications made in the budget to reduce the amount of reductions, but still the net loss has dropped from $381,000 to $252,000 that we will see over the next 3 or 4 years in state cuts. We aggressively are pursuing federal funding to try to make up the difference where we can in our budget to pull in additional federal dollars. The challenge with those sometimes, though, is there's additional strings on the federal dollars, so they add additional services, which adds additional costs. So we are balancing that the best that we can. We continue looking at our staffing ratios, and we've had a number of people retire, which has helped us contain our costs. We've reset the clock a little bit with being able to bring newer people in at the entry-level wages compared to folks that are at the top end of the ranges. Health insurance, which is a phenomenon in itself. I think everyone's trying to grapple with how to contain the costs, but health insurance costs continue to go up. We have made changes. We've increased our deductible on our health insurance plans, so employees are paying more. And we plan to phase in over the next several years them paying more each year, so it's not a significant hit the first year to offset some of the increased costs there. We've made investments in energy and technology in our building, putting in LED lighting, looking at more energy efficient furnaces, and trying to look at grants for those to help operate as efficiently as we can, and is always looking to be as efficient as possible. Currently, we provide services to about 420 to 470 folks. I say the variation is early intervention is a phenomena that works with children birth to 3. So there are children coming in and children leaving. So we touch those families over the span of the year. So we try to keep those numbers in our overall number. We are seeing a growth in services. One of the things as I entered the profession I thought we would see is a decrease in the demand for services for folks with disabilities. With the advances in medicine, I would have thought disabilities would have been going away. We're not seeing that. Actually, we're seeing the opposite, specifically a growth in autism. Autism is a huge phenomenon, and I think it's really going to impact the schools and impact our school program, because what we're seeing is with early intervention, we were serving at one point about 120 kids in Seneca County, and over the past probably 5 years, with changes through the Department of Health that managed the program, they restricted the eligibility criteria. So we're currently serving about 58 families in Seneca County. So it's about a 50% drop. But what's happening is those kids that are missing early intervention are not going to preschool and are hitting the schools not prepared. So now the schools have children that are autistic with high needs and high behaviors, and they're really struggling with how to fill that need. So they've been requesting additional services from us. One of the things that we did several years ago to help contain costs is we flipped the switch, because we're not responsible for educational services for children. The home school districts will pay us to provide those services. And so we've been able to save the county money by doing that. The school districts end up paying, but I think we do an excellent job with services for the kids. And now we've got, actually outside of our county school districts, because some of the school districts split the county, Buckeye Central being one of those, asking to bring children here. And they actually bring them into Seneca County. We pick them up at a transit spot and bring them into the program. So my point being is we have a growing need for services, and we've tried to manage our funds as much as we can, but ultimately we need this renewal. So that's kind of a little bit about where we are. Adult service-wise with the adults, we still have 2 sheltered workshops. There is increased pressure to privatize those. We are looking at different options for those. We're looking in planning. We have currently not the county board, but the agency that we're contracting with, which is Seneca Re-Ads, who actually pays the individuals, is right now involved in a federal lawsuit over commensurate wages and the usage of the 14C certificate. What was supposed to be an expedited hearing, it was supposed to be resolved in 90 days according to federal law, is now entered into a year with no answers from the federal government. And that may impact our adult program in terms of if we can't pay people using if they, Seneca Re-Ads, cannot pay individuals based on the 14C certificate, then all those individuals that we're serving, which is about 200 adults, will move strictly into HAB activities. And we do have HAB activities going on, but a lot of the folks come in and want to earn money. And families are very upset with the premise of the individuals not possibly being able to earn money. And from the county perspective, my concern is we've got individuals that are working specifically at the Ropey division who make close to minimum wage, if not making minimum wage. And they generate several $100s a month that they use to pay their utilities and rent. And with the loss of that revenue, is the expectation going to be from the state that we as a county pay those expenses? So we're lobbying right now, trying to get that worked out at the state with what's happening. But until we get the resolution from the federal government, we haven't made any brass moves. Some of the counties around us have privatized their adult services program by contracting out with private providers. We do that based on the choice of the individuals. And one of the things that we are working with is the local providers to expand their services. And also one of the things we're going to be asking them, so for example, many of you have seen ECI driving around their vans. What I'd like them to do, if I can get them to do it, is put funded by the Seneca County Board or the Opportunity Center on the side of the vehicle. Because we may not provide, and in the future, I think we won't provide as many adult services as we do now, but we still are responsible, and this is a key element, we're still responsible to fund those services. So if it's through ECI or through somebody else, we have to pay for the cost of those services. And that's why this is important for us to renew this levy at this time. So that's kind of an overview. I just kind of wanted to put this out there and ask that I know
When
in
will
the
this go
future.
on, when will this go on about?
It would go on
May 2nd.
May 2nd.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for what you do. This certainly is worthwhile. The Opportunity Center does a lot of great things. But I do have a couple fiscal questions.
Sure.
The first one is, what is the total millage you folks now have across the county?
8.2 mils voted. Of course, it's, reduced by the tax reduction factors.
And what is your carryover this year? How much in excess funds we have?
It'll be around, I want to say off the top of my head, like 5 million, somewhere in that area.
So we have 5 million in reserves at this point for
Right.
catastrophes in the future. And just from a operational standpoint, how much more revenue, if any, will you have this year versus expenses.
Wish I was prepared to give you that information. What I'm looking at right now is our carryover projections is we'll have adequate funding through 2021.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
With the levy renewal, you would have a positive cash flow. Without it, you would have a negative cash flow. So my question is, what's that number?
Yeah, I would have, can I email it?
Sure, I
to
mean,
you?
it can't be
Sure.
a big number because we're talking about this thing generating 250,000 a year.
Right.
So it has to be somewhere less than 250, I assume. Because if you have it,
Yeah, it's
you
not,
be positive, and if you don't have
yeah,
it.
it's not much, I can tell you
Okay.
that. I'm sorry, I should have brought.
No,
that
it's
one.
okay. I'm just trying to get a handle from a fiscal standpoint, exactly where it's at. So we have 8.2 mils right now total.
Correct.
And that includes the half a mil that we're asking for.
Yes.
That will not increase by virtue of this millage
No,
renewal.
no, this is a straight renewal of a levy that was approved in 1981.
I see that, yeah. Okay, all right.
We'll get you that, I'll get you that information.
Does it expire this year or next year, or are you going a year early? I don't know how you're allowed to do that or
It
whatever.
actually expires this year, but it will be collected next year.
So you'll be collecting 16s and 17?
Right, and then
So
if it does not get renewed next year, then in 18, we will lose.
Is
Well, what I
18
hear-
when it falls off, okay.
What I hear about a lot of these levies, and tell me if I'm incorrect here, but a half a mil in 1985 meant more than a half a mil now?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
Explain
this-
that just a minute.
Say that one more time.
A half a mil in 1985 meant more to you than a half a mil does in 2016.
Well, this actual half mil, yes, correct.
Yeah,
This half mil, if it was voted today as new money, would generate about, $550,000. But since it was voted 35 years ago, it generates about 250.
okay, that's what I'm asking.
Because it's based on the old evaluation.
Right, based on the old
Okay, that's what I was
evaluation.
trying to
I was listening to it the opposite way.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say is that if we were to replace it,
Right.
it would generate more money
It'd be about
than
that.
what we're doing.
Yeah.
And when you replace it, even if you chose to reduce your millage, you'd have to call it a new,
Right.
I mean, it's a replacement, it's not a new tax, but that,
Yeah.
It's-
Right.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
know
we
we went
have,
through this discussion with the school, and I was just trying to get my arms around what that meant.
This is our only non-continuing levy that comes up every 5 years.
What's your deadline on an answer from us? Because it'd be nice if we had a 3-commissioner vote on this, as well as, I don't know if you want to see your answers to your things before we act on it.
well, we can get you that today, I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll get that to
Okay.
you, email it to you
Yeah,
today.
let's
But I
put it on,
mean-
let's make sure it's on the agenda next week. Fred will be back next week.
Yeah, if that's,
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Would you like us to attend next week?
You know what, let's have some conversations in between, and then we'll tell you.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay. Okay. And just so everybody knows, the levy cycle, you build so last, 2 years ago it was, because it wasn't this year, or it was last year, actually, time is flying. We had a mill for new money, and that generates more money the first couple years, but because we're not running any additional money, our costs go up. So if you look at it, this is your finances, and it goes this way, your costs go up. And so that cross point where we start to go in the negative, as Dick pointed out, is 2021, I think. So when we talk about 5 mils, it's not, a lot of people are getting confused right now because they think, well, you're sitting on $5 million, why can't you expand services to a bunch of different people? Because that money is budgeted for in our budget cycle. Because part of our program is federal dollars and Medicaid, and we are committed to that match indefinitely. So we have to budget for that as a continuing expense. So if we were to lose or spend that money by expanding additional services, and then we couldn't afford it, we'd either have to come back for additional funds, or we would have to reduce services in some areas of our program. But as we get more and more Medicaid, it'll be very, very difficult to reduce services, because you won't
Rich,
be
the
able.
last question I would want to answer from a financial standpoint is, what percentage of the operation does the millage cover versus outside sources?
It's roughly 70%
Okay.
with the state and maybe a little bit higher than that, actually,
Sure.
with the state and federal picking up.
Somewhere about 30% is generated from other sources.
State and
than
federal,
millage.
correct, yeah. It might be a little higher than that, but the state and federal. And Commissioner Stacy, to answer your question, according to the prosecutor's office, we would need to have all the paperwork done and filed by the end of January.
Okay,
So we do have a little bit of
okay,
time.
yeah, I just wanna make sure we weren't gonna,
Right.
wasn't a December 1st or something like that, and,
And just to further elaborate on your point is, when you look at the 70, it's, the state's dollars have drastically cut since I've been here. At one point, they were about 22% of our budget, now they're probably, I think 12 was about right. And that's even being reduced as we phase out the personal property tax.
Yeah.
No, I know, I just want to say that out loud
Yeah, I
because
get it, yeah.
it's, the state has done a masterful a masterful job of spending local taxpayers through local government. As people in the community, you need to understand is, we are an extension of them, of the state at a local level. They write the rules, we have to operate within the rules. They could layer in costs, and the expectation is then we fund it. And if we don't approve it, I think there's one county where they're actually going to go to the commissioners and force the commissioners to pay for the cost of services because the county board could not approve a levy. Morrow County, I think, went almost 14 or 15 levies without getting it approved. A lot of turmoil what happened in their community around their program, but there was a point of going bankrupt, and the state, who should be jumping in, was very hesitant and tried to push it on the local government. So
Have you ever had a levy that failed?
have we? Not since I've been here.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
We've had one in the history of our program.
Okay.
1981, I believe it was, and it was passed the next year.
And I think, sometimes it's leadership, and I think, to my understanding, there was a period of leadership change, and it left a bad taste in the
Well,
community.
sometimes there's just a sentiment, a no sentiment of voters
Right.
of everything, so it doesn't matter what it is, yeah.
But we're blessed to live in a community that does so much, and when I look at our costs, we've been able to manage our costs. They're a lot lower than other areas of the state, but yet the quality of services I would match to anybody's in the state in terms of what we do and the impact we make on
Yeah, I would
lives.
certainly echo that. It's a great place to be.
So, thank you for your time.
thank you.
I don't. I can give you my information.
All right. We have covered all business and scheduled things to citizens' comments this time. Does anybody have any questions or comments, or? Judge?
Mike Kelby, 315 Millmore Street. As a member of the public, I saw some very long, very large diameter steel pipe come in. I suspect that's for the 3 elevator shafts that need to put in. And I also saw what appeared to be a drilling rig. So, that's just my public comment.
Well, pray for oil.
Well, that would slow up construction, but I
don't
think
care.
it'd be
We'll find a
worthwhile.
site.
Yeah.
Wasn't that an April Fool's joke
Yes,
this
it
year?
was, yeah, that was April Fool's joke. Yes, it was. Huge.
Huge stuff.
I don't
They
know
came in to here to the site?
For the
if
hydraulic
any of
of
you
the
seen
elevator.
the Mental Health
We
and
got
Recovery
3 elevators.
Services Board.
Oh, thank you for bringing that up.
Um,
I meant to.
Basically, the letter says, due to the recent drug overdoses, they feel it's necessary to bring communities together. They're having a meeting at the Little Faith Ministries in Tiffin from tonight from 7 to 8. And it looks like also they're going to have it in Fremont on Wednesday from 7 to 8.
7 to 8, where's Little Faith Ministries?
Right down here
Empire.
beside the funeral home.
Go to the Empire, you'll
Right
find it.
down here beside the who?
Is that by the funeral home?
Yeah, it used to be
On South
Washington
Washington.
Street United Methodist.
Yeah, 1:30.
Ah, okay,
South Washington.
okay, I got you. What time is that, 7 o'clock?
Yeah, 7 to 8.
Yeah, I did see the ATN, it was yesterday, and of course the announcement came, I think, Saturday, that the extreme high level of the overdose cases in a week's time or a few days period of time, I mean, it was 2 and 12 hours in the north end of the county, so, but they were gonna have this meeting, actually on that bus tour yesterday, the representative from the governor's Northwest Ohio, Luann, was on that tour, and we were talking about that, and we saw the post from the AT about the meeting set up in both communities. I have a commitment tonight, so I cannot go, but,
I will go.
okay. It'll be great to see. They're going to try to have some, at least in the radio news thing, I heard some recovering addicts there to discuss it, share their comments and so forth, and, I don't know, just,
I was told Mike DeWine might be there as well.
okay. All right. Anything else for the citizens' comments? Seeing none? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned 10:35.